What's going on, everybody? This is Circle to Circle. I'm Stephen Pierce. The New York Rangers have opened up their season, 10 games so far, 6-2-2, 14 points on the year. The Capitals trail them. They're in second place in the Metropolitan Division with 12 points. The Rangers lead that, but they have the Capitals have 3 games in hand. The Rangers just played 4 games, the most in the National Hockey League last week. They came away with some wins, but they have, most importantly, points in the 5 of their last games. They had an overtime loss and a shootout loss, but still managed to come away with a point, and then they also had 3 wins. They have 14 points so far. It's been a little bit of an interesting year. The lineups have been mixed and matched. Alain Vigneault has done a pretty good job so far, trying to mix things up, trying to let this team flourish, try and rebuild, try and get their legs underneath them, shake off the rust. It was a long playoff run last year, not as long as they would hoped, but now they have to get back into the season and get back there somehow. And in the beginning of the year, they won 3 straight. It was looking pretty good. They started losing a little bit. They weren't sure what's going on. Vigneault had to shake up the lineup, and right now, I think the main problem is the defense. The defensive end is looking shaky. Those 6 guys played all last year. They're all back. The same 6 core guys are back for the Rangers on the defensive end, but they look a little shaky to me. Ryan McDonough hasn't really woken up yet. Dan Girardi really hasn't woken up yet. It's kind of interesting to see, and Alain Vigneault has decided to, for the first time in how many years that I can even remember, change Ryan McDonough and Dan Girardi. They're not on the top pair together anymore. They've been separated, and it consists of, right now, Ryan McDonough and Kevin Klein. Kevin Klein has arguably been the best defenseman on this team. He has been scoring he's scored goals in big situations. He's had some assists, but he looks good at both ends of the ice. He knows when to hop in the rush, just like last night against the Calgary Flames. The Rangers came up with a win there, 4-1. Kevin Klein had a big goal in that to expand the lead to 3-1. That was huge. He's playing so well. That's why he's promoted on that top pair to help Ryan McDonough maybe find his game a little more. And with the offensive game that Klein brings, and that he's able to bring, that we've seen him bring the past 2 years, because he got off to this great start of the season last year. I know he didn't end up so well, but he's able to do this now, and he's able to take some of the pressure off Ryan McDonough, who's supposed to be a two-way defenseman. And Klein is more of a defensive guy, but he has very good vision. He knows when to step up in the play. He knows where the puck is going to be. He's got a good shot. He's got a good cannon of a shot, nice wrist shot. He's got that slap shot from the point going on as well. So that helps the defense as well. It takes some of the pressure off even Keith Yandel, who hasn't been that bad. He has, he's got 6 points now. He's got 5 assists and 1 goal. He's looked pretty good. He's playing on the second pair with Dan Girardi. So Dan Girardi is the defensive guy, obviously. He's the go-to defensive guy, and Keith Yandel is the offensive defenseman. So that's, I think, a good pair. I think Alain Vigneault paired them together very well. They look good together, and Keith Yandel has done a pretty good job. He's made some bonehead plays here and there. He hasn't been able to break out of his zone properly and with the nice passing, and the system doesn't maybe he doesn't, I don't know if he doesn't get it. He's played with the team a number of games now, and he is finding guys. He's finding the open ice. He's skating pretty well, but he needs to make that breakout pass better. It's something that I look to see from Keith Yandel in the future. And then, of course, we got Mark Stahl, who's a defensive defenseman. He's scored a goal so far, but he hasn't looked great. You know his legs really aren't working because he's got that long reach, which he covers up because he's not skating. He's not moving his leg. And whenever you see a guy reaching, you know it's because they're not skating, and that's something that I'm seeing a lot of from Mark Stahl. That's why he's on the third pair now. He's a top 6 defenseman with Dan Boyle. Dan Boyle, there's not much to say other than that he's just 39. He's the second oldest player in the league next to Jaromir Jagr, who you can't even compare him to. Dan Boyle, there's no rust to shake off. His legs have just permanently rusted. He can't skate. He can't really do anything. He's supposed to have a 200-foot game. He can't even play the 15 feet that the Rangers bought him for in the offensive zone. He can't even do that. He can't play behind his net. He can't play in front of it. He can't play in front of the offensive net. He's terrible in all areas of the game, and that's something that maybe needs to be addressed. Maybe Dylan McElrath comes in and plays for him, or maybe they just need to give him more rest because he's just old. And I don't mean to be mean to him, but he's not helping the team at all, really. He can't play defensive. He can't play defensively, excuse me. He gets beat all the time. People beat him to the puck. He loses battles on the boards. He can't make a breakout pass. He can't put a shot on net. No one can hit the net. It took a period and a half yesterday versus the Flames for the Rangers to even hit the net. It was ridiculous. They have nice shots, but if you don't hit the net, nothing will matter. You have to hit the net, boys. And when they started to hit the net, look at that. Klein scored. That's what happens. He was one of the big guys that was up there. He was getting shots on the net, and he was actually hitting the goal. and which is something that they need to do. And speaking of hitting the net or just producing or just scoring goals in general, Rick Nash, I know you were going through a regression because you cannot score 40 goals again in your career. I just don't think it's possible because of the age that you are and the team that you're on, and you don't have a number one center. Maybe you go number one center, and maybe you go somewhere that has a number one center, and you get a bunch of goals because someone needs to feed you the puck. But you're not going to have that on this team. So what you need to do to break out of this 1 goal, 2 assists, -2 plus minus. He has an abysmal 3.1 shooting percentage, which is god awful. He was almost at a 20% shooting percentage last year, which was amazing. And this year it's horrendous. He scored 1 goal and it was an empty net goal. I'm just going to let that resonate for a moment because everyone's predicting that he's going to have some sort of good year again. Not the 42-goal season that he had a year ago, but at least 30 goals. I'd be happy if you scored 30 goals. He's on pace for a 20-goal season right now. He's looking so poor at the top line. I mean, he came into camp. Alain Vigneault praised him, how hard he works, how good he looked, what kind of shape he was in. But it's nothing. He's not doing anything right now. The reason he's not doing anything, and the reasons what he has to do to kind of progress, and he has to do his own work. As hard as that is in the National Hockey League, what he was doing last year was driving to the net, creating his own opportunities, parking his body in front of the net when someone was about to shoot, and he would get that greasy goal, he would knock it in, get a deflection, or it would just come off his body in some sort of way like the famous butt goal. But that's what he needs to do. He needs to create his own opportunities because no one else is going to help him. I know Derek Stepan is on the top line now. Derek Brassard wasn't doing it, wasn't passing Rick Nash the puck appropriately. But Rick Nash, it's also up to you. You got to get into places where you can score. You got to go to open ice. You got to go to the shooting lanes. If you look at Oscar Lindberg, that's all he's been doing. He sees the play very well. He sees it unfold. He's able to get himself into a position where he can have the puck effectively and take a good shot on net. And 5 of those have gone in. He's got 5 goals leading the team. If anyone told me at the beginning of the year that Oscar Lindberg, the 23-year-old rookie, would be leading this New York Ranger team in goals, I would have been astounded. I would have said at least Chris Kreider, maybe a Matt Zuccarello, who's second. He's got 4 goals, which isn't bad, considering he's come off his horrendous injury to his head. I really want Rick Nash or Chris Kreider to score. They need to do something to find. And Chris Kreider, much of what I'm saying about Rick Nash also applies to you. Use that body. Do not be afraid. You have a big, strong body. You are so quick. Beat the guys. You can beat defenders. Go to the net. Don't hit the goalie, please. I know there's been a lot of controversy about that. Chris Kreider will sneeze next to a goalie, and it'll be a goalie interference call. But when Antti Ranta gets run into last night, don't call. But I digress. Chris Kreider, use your big body, skate quickly, and go to the net. Drive hard. You did it one time, and you scored 1 goal so far. You need to do that game in and game out. Find your rhythm. You and Rick Nash, whatever it is, you need to find your rhythm, wake up, and go drive hard to the net, put pucks on the net, get to the open ice, and be able to shoot. Chris Kreider has a magnificent shot, as does Rick Nash. Rick Nash, use your body more. You're very good with shielding the puck, skate to the slot, and let it rip. He did that all the time last year, and I know it's difficult to do all that by yourself, but that's what you need to do on this Rangers team because there's not a lot of solid playmakers for you out there. Derek Stepan and Derek Brassard, number 2 centers on any team, not number 1 guys, that's for sure. They're good players and not going to be able to feed you the puck perfectly every time. So it's up to you. And I know that's a lot of responsibility, but I think you need to realize that and get going. Oscar Lindberg, I've already said he leads the team in goals. And this team needs to just do something offensively because even the defense is sort of waking up offensively. They've had goals from Klein and Yandel, which isn't a lot, but that's still, if you look at the defensive amount of goals compared to what the forwards have done, specifically the guys like Rick Nash, Chris Kreider, Derek Stepan. I mean, Brassard scored yesterday. It was pretty, and you know why? Because there was traffic in front of the net, and because he actually hit the net. Hiller was screened, and he could not see the puck. Derek Brassard's, let me hit the net. Of course it's going to go in. He can't see anything. He's not going to be able to move to block the puck. He was already down. You beat him, glove side, high cheese. That's what you need to do every time. I don't know if it's just Derek Brassard, if you see that one time, but you have a very good shot. You need to shoot more, too. It cannot just be this third line of Lindberg, JT Miller, and Kevin Hayes, which has been phenomenal, and maybe because they're younger, they're not as tired. I don't know what it is, but you cannot let your third line lead you as a team. Now, granted, you're 6-2-2. Apparently, you can let them lead you, but that's not going to transfer well to the regular season. And I'm curious to see what Alain Vigneault does for the next few games here, and who wakes up, who's going to do their job. Rick Nash, you're going to score. Chris Kreider, you're going to use your body, go to the net, skate quickly and hard. This is a New York Ranger team that has been arguably the best on paper, and from what I can see, the guys that they have, this is the best team I think they've put together in the past, 3 or 4 years they've been making these Stanley Cup runs. So with that being said, they don't play all week. Get some rest, boys. You need to do a lot. Come next Friday when you're at MSG, you play the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are not looking good this year. Granted, it's Mike Babcock and they're rebuilding. You got to jump on them early. These guys got to break out of their shells. They got to score some goals. We'll see what Alain Vigneault does. For Circle to Circle, this has been Stephen Pierce. Thank you for listening.